Uh, Hi YouTube. I still exist. Hi. All right, before I start this video, an explainer. I am fine from surgery. Seriously. I was releasing videos out of order. So, even though on my YouTube channel, the last video timeline wise is the pre SRS interview with my mom, the last video, I've done like 3 videos chronologically since then. So, yes, I am fine. I am recovered. I am not dead. You can quit like concerned messaging me. And guess what? I'm back after finally a disclaimer, I've been planning to come back for like the past 4 years now. But due to circumstances that I will explain, I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and never actually finishing it, even though I said I was going to be back like 4 times. So, long story short on that, earlier this year I was diagnosed with ADD. So now I know why I constantly have an inability to stick to schedules and an inability to actually finish things that I start. But yes, everything's fine. Surgery recovery is totally fine. I released 3 videos after surgery. It's just that I released videos out of order chronologically because I did not have the time or energy to post videos while I was in Thailand. So I was posting Thailand videos afterward. And then I just kind of like ran out of motivation to make them for reasons that I will explain in this video. And so that is where the state of my channel was. So first things first, yes, everything is 100% fine in my life. Honestly, the reason why I haven't been making videos more than anything is just because post-surgery life is kind of ordinary. So the reason why I started this YouTube channel in the first place was because I was still in a very uncertain place going through transition. And I I was like kind of scared about like, is everything going to be okay? Am I going to make it through? Is this going to fix my mental health issues? And I wanted to document every single step of the way because other people who had done the same were so helpful to me. So I wanted to do the same thing and just show along the way. Like when I was going through the rough patches, it was very helpful for me to see other people going through the rough patches and then coming out the other end and be totally fine. But once transition is effectively over with, that kind of I'm going to show my imperfect work in progress motivation kind of slips out because what am I working on? What am I really constantly obsessively thinking about? I used to do videos based on. It used to be I would make a video about, oh God, I don't know what my sexual orientation is because I have to experiment with it. And I'm hoping I know what I'm doing with surgery. Here's my history. It was convincing myself as much as it was actually making videos to help other people. It's like making a video about it helped me think through things and run ideas through my head. Where, if we're being honest, after surgery, that's kind of not a thing that really happens so much anymore. I definitely still had to confront inner demons, but they were generally not related to trans things. So it's just, I didn't really have that inner fire and drive to make videos out of, I will say, the outpouring of the abundance of my mental thought processes. So it had to become a thing that would take conscious effort and planning and be like, all right, well, I want to make this video so that the community will know, which takes an entirely different level of motivation than just, this is what I have been obsessing over in my own head for the past 7 days. I have to talk about it to someone. So that is the other reason why my video output has been pretty much nothing for the past 4 years. Now, that is the too long didn't listen. If you want to know where my mental health state has been, mostly it's been trying to figure out the same issues that I had all the way through transition, but I found out that a lot of them weren't related to transition. So honestly, afterwards, you're just living life. And there are still issues that you have to work through. Like for me, again, I found out that the reason why I had such a hard time with groups, I made a ton of videos about this where it's like, why don't I have an innate drive to talk to people and be social? Why do I talk myself out of going to parties? I made a video where I thought it was social anxiety. I thought it was the trans thing for a while and just like not being socialized properly, which, by the way, comment, internalized transphobia. It's bad. I'll talk about that. And then finally realizing, oh, apparently I've had ADD my entire life. So, there are certain things that transition doesn't deal with because they're not fundamentally related to transition, but the dysphoria, pretty much done. Like, there are some times where I feel bad about my appearance because I feel like I look kind of guyish, but in terms of the obsessive, I wish I was a woman thought, done, gone, has not really been in my head for the past 3 years or so. Like, I went through one last internal struggle of trying to, like, feeling inadequate because I didn't get to go through, quote, female socialization, quote, female puberty. But I ended up finding out at the end of it, and this is after I started making videos, so I haven't talked about this at all, and I will expand on it in the future because it's a topic I want to discuss more, and I feel like a lot of people are probably dealing with the same thing. It has a name. Internalized transphobia. Basically, the belief that somehow your experience of femininity as a trans woman is somehow lesser, defective, less feminine by nature, etc. It is a societal view that trans people are lesser, internalized, where you believe it yourself. And you do not have to believe that internalized narrative. And I have slowly been discovering that more and more. So when I first transitioned and moved to the city in my new job, I was making like extensive efforts to try and be self. I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want anyone to know that I was trans. I was super paranoid about whether people knew or not and whether they were judging me or not. I was super paranoid about passing. Quote, where starting around the year, like, let's say middle of 2018 to 2019, it finally started going away as I realized this is all internalized transphobia talking. Who's to say that because I had this life experience, I am lesser, etc. You don't have to believe the societal narrative and be your own bully, is what I discovered. So that is why things have taken a significantly better turn, and why I feel like that was another thing, is that I wanted to make videos with progress and with my evolving mental processes instead of just repeating the same, like, self-criticisms over and over and over again and never getting anywhere. So, hey, guess what? All those vlogs that I did where I was complaining, I'm not passable, I hate myself, were finally made progress. Oh my god, yes. So, that is something that I'm going to talk about in greater depth. I want to do a lot of video topics that I've thought about. I want to do an update on my sexual orientation, which I've gotten a lot of clarity on that now. I want to do a video on what surgery did and did not fix in terms of my mental health and in terms of my body image. I'm going to talk about the ADD in greater depth. I'm going to talk about internalized transphobia in much greater depth. And then the most important thing of all, which probably people have been waiting for, I am going to finish my surgery recovery videos. I took the videos in Thailand. They're sitting on my computer and I just have not edited them. We are going to fix that. I am going to go chronological. That is going to be my first project because I feel like as somebody who's gone through the experience, I owe it to people to to finish what I started and talk about like what the recovery is like, because recovery was long, very difficult, and initially it was the thing that got me out of the habit of making videos. Is just that dilation took like 2 hours a day, and I was working. The other thing is I got promoted to full-time while I was in Thailand. Like, my manager called me in Taipei and said, hey, Carrie, when you come back to work, you want full time? So, so busy. I've also tried to make like 2 other YouTube channels, so I haven't been completely gone, and I will link to them as I move on and talk about what I've been working on through the years. So that was supposed to be the too long didn't watch, but it ended up being a long description. So that's what I've been up to. That's what I'm planning to do. And now, in slightly greater depth, here is everything that's happened since my last video right after the election. So 2017. I was just finishing a relationship with my ex-boyfriend, and I made a video talking about the relationship, actually 2 videos talking about the relationship in quite a bit of depth. And that was very wrong of me to do in such a public manner. So after I made the videos, I had to go back and delete them, and that really got me out of the habit of making YouTube videos even more, because I felt so bad about having hurt someone else with my careless words and actions. So I am not going to be doing that anymore, and I'm not going to talk about that relationship anymore, but it ended badly, and a combination of me at the end of that relationship feeling like my mental health was fundamentally, or like my socialization was fundamentally defective, which again, that is internalized transphobia, but I did not recognize it as internalized transphobia, and I projected the blame onto other people. Please, God, don't do that. You can overcome your internalized transphobia. You don't have to blame yourself or other people for making you feel bad like that. So for the rest of 2017, I was fighting depression, and also the political news kept me like very, very on edge. That was the year of the travel ban. That was the year that we were terrified that the Supreme Court was coming after trans people, like the fallout of the North Carolina bathroom bill was still happening. I had to go, long story short on that one, I had to go on antidepressants in 2017, which is it was a necessary thing at the time. It helped give me that little bit of lift out from the what happens with depression is you can kind of get trapped in it because it reinforces itself. So that was just a little nudge to get back to a healthier thought process. And then at the end of 2017, a friend moved in with me, and so it was hard for me to make videos. I was still finding my mental health, and I also had a roommate to consider. And then that was when I released the 2 videos about the relationship a year after the fact, and then deleted them. So early 2018 is when things really started turning around mental health wise. Like the end of 2016, early 2017 were really rough years for me. I don't know how much of it was post-surgery depression, which is a thing that happens and is completely normal. So it sucks while it's happening, but it's only a moderate concern, and it doesn't mean in any way, trust me, that surgery was wrong, or that, like, again, you make your mental health spirals worse when internalized transphobia and self-doubt and all this other shit gets mixed into it. But so in early 2018, one of the big turnaround moments was that I got kitties. So I had not had pets for so long, and I was afraid to get pets before surgery because I knew I was going out of the country, and God, who's gonna look after them while I'm out for a month and a half? But I finally adopted kittens, and so a lot of my issues with feeling humans need some kind of like comfort to feel functional socially. So this sounds dumb, but having cute animals in the house who like come and want to be petted, and they snuggle up with me, it gets the oxytocin flowing. And so a lot of my like I'm so lonely kind of finally started resolving itself, and 2018 was a pretty good year for me. The only thing that made it kind of was work stress, which was off and on. And then the big thing that I tried to do in 2018 was I tried getting my animation critic YouTube channel going, which now I will talk about that. I've been doing multiple side projects while I've been not making videos on this trans channel. So for a while, I tried to make a gaming channel, and I've been playing Magic the Gathering competitively since early 2017. I started getting back into Magic right before surgery. I won a preliminary Pro Tour qualifier and then day 3 Grand Prix. So for like a year and a half, that was my hobby obsession. And so I was going to try to make a gaming channel. Didn't quite have the motivation to make enough content to sustain it. But I tried that for a while. Then summer 2018, I tried, like, since college, I've been wanting to do a channel on animation. Or, like, in college, it was something called Tag Team Disney, which was an idea that I came up with my ex-girlfriend, Jenny. And we were going to do, like, serious reviews of good Disney movies, like Doug Walker style, like, riffing reviews of the Disney sequels. That idea never quite got going, but that idea of an animation review channel had been floating around in my head since then. And I was able to do one video on on the winter 2015 anime season and put like my full effort into it a year after the fact, by the way. And so in summer 2018, I was like, all right, this is the year. I'm finally going to get this animation critic channel off the ground. And so for the summer 2018 anime season, I started doing an anime derby where the goal was watch all of the shows, review all of the shows, and make like a top 10 list. And so that was my last like big streak of creative output, was summer 2018 when I tried to do that. Unfortunately, it fell through, as things do. I am still figuring this out, why I cannot stick to schedules, follow through with things, and just like quit halfway through without finishing my big projects. Part of it is just that I'm too ambitious with my ideas, and I commit to too many things before I know it, I've bitten out more than I can chew. And the other part of it is just being able to stick to a schedule and not be distracted by, again, so ADD is your brain has low levels of neurotransmitters, so you have a hard time like not being distracted by the thing which will provide you with the short-term neurotransmitter boost over the long-term project that you want to work on, but it would take effort. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get myself to stick to projects, because I want that animation critic channel to actually work eventually. I have tried this like 3 times now. But that was my big summer 2018 project. And then late in 2018 was one of the bigger changes, and that is I actually started having a social life. So through Magic the Gathering, I started making friends with a lot of people in the local gaming community. And so one of them invited me to play D&D, and I started getting to be really good friends with a lot of people in that D&D play group. And I started dating one of the guys, and he eventually taught me how to be a dungeon master, and so I started running my own campaign. And I am still running that campaign and meeting with that play group like a couple times every week, and we also play Commander. And so this has been like the first time since high school-ish that I've actually had like, well, okay, also I guess kind of with Jenny, I don't know, but I've had a group of friends that I can hang out with. I have people that I can call to go to the movies with. It's like, oh my God, I actually have a social life. Oh my God, this was happening after I had finally like dropped the internal stigma about my transness, and I stopped. It's so weird that when you stop stigmatizing yourself, it's like the wall drops a bit. So it's kind of like it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy when you're so worried about people looking at you like an outsider. People can see that you're nervous and see that you are worried about it's all subconscious. It's not people actively thinking this. It's just a body language thing. When you're sending out the message that you're nervous, people are less likely to get close. And so I started dropping the wall a bit, and now I am significantly less closed about my transness. Like, pretty much everybody at the D&D group knows, a lot more people at work know, and it's like I don't broadcast it to the world, but I have become much less shy about talking up about trans rights issues and like calling people out when they say not okay things. And about the same time as that happened, I finally started having a group of friends who I just feel comfortable with. And this is still going. And that was 2018 and 2019. And like 2019, I yet again tried to start my animation critic YouTube channel and failed again. Story of my life. I started working on a video essay for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It fell through. I started doing the spring 2020 anime season. And when COVID happened, I ended up out of work due to furlough, because the casino had to close by state regulation. And so I was like, all right, this is it. This is the time. And like, that was when I made my posts about how I am finally going to revive this channel and I am finally going to do my animation critic channel. None of it ended up working out. I never got, like... So, starting in 2017-ish, I was planning on rebooting this channel. Like, after I finished the videos on my relationship, like, I had been planning to reboot this channel for so long, but I wanted it to be better. I was kind of falling out of love with the vlog format, and I feel like, wow, you know, YouTube has just evolved to this point where people are doing all these, like, amazing scripted video essays and really going in depth on topics. I want to do that. The problem is, every time I tried doing it, the project failed, as you can see with how my animation critic videos went. So I had this whole big, like, rebirth video planned where it was going to be... 7 years ago, I started documenting my transition on YouTube. My goal was simple: capture everything. The highs. The lows. I was doing, like, camera angles and music, and the problem is, because it was going to take so much work, I never did it. Just like I never did any of my other animation critic YouTube videos. So that's the other reason why I haven't made a video, is just because I had ambitious plans and they fell through. So finally I decided, you know what? People are asking me if I'm dead. And at this point, I feel like I'm putting too much pressure on myself and I just have to scale it down. I have to if I want to put things out, make it easier on myself. So, like I said earlier, I was planning on doing like an ambitious channel relaunch where I was going to start doing better, more edited, more scripted videos. But part of that came down to a personal journey where I realized I put a lot of pressure on myself due to family expectations. They were always like, oh, you're so smart. You're going to be doing great things. And Gigi just jumped on the bed. I might bother her to come over here so that I can show you my little fur gremlin. Hi, Gigi. Hello. Yes. Kitty, kitty. Look at this precious kitty face. Gigi does not want to show you her precious kitty face. She's rebelling. So finally it's just like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to go back to the vlog format for the sake of putting things out, letting people know that I'm okay, and finishing the surgery recovery videos. It's better to put out something and be honest about it than push yourself too far and never do anything. So that's my new goal, is to be more realistic about what I can accomplish and can't. Work with my brain instead of trying to fight against it with all the family expectations of you have to do great things. Everything you do has to be this big, ambitious, like, best ever project, etc. So, I feel like that is a good place to end it. Hi, everybody. I am Carrie. My username is currently CheetahKing243. However, I am probably going to be changing that soon because I honestly haven't used that username anywhere for like the past 5-ish years. The name I usually go by is Mai of the Fire, but that is the name of my gaming channel, so I can't use that one. So I think I'm just going to use my username from Susan's Transgender Forums and change the channel title to Carrie Liz 243. But I'm not going to do that yet because it's been so long, I need people to know who I am before I go messing with things. So yeah. Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm back. I am going to be making videos. Specifically, I'm going to focus on the surgery recovery videos, and then I'll move on to the more topical things. And my eventual goal is to alternate back and forth between this channel and my animation critic channel, but I honestly don't feel comfortable making any promises at the moment because I know what my past history is, but I'm going to try. So I look forward to continuing to produce content, and hopefully it actually goes more smoothly this time around. Thank you for being patient. See you guys next time.